If there is something that defines Russia, it's the long history of authoritarian rule it has lived under. From the Kievan Rus to the imperial era of the Romanovs through the Soviet Union up to our days, under the leadership of Putin, Russians do not know what it is like to live in a democracy, except for those who lived in the 1990s, those who experienced a democratic project that ended almost as soon as it began. Are you interested in learning about the rise and rapid fall of the Yeltsin era? Alright, then stay until the end of the video. August of 1991 was a month that will go down in history. The famous coup d'etat orchestrated by a group of conservative communist leaders against the then president of the USSR, Mikhail Gorbachev, took place. The reason? They believed that his reforms were destroying the country. While the top leader was isolated in Crimea, the then president of the RSFS of Russia took control of the crisis. The iconic image of Yeltsin's speech on top of a tank made him a national hero, overshadowing Gorbachev so much that this meme fits perfectly. Ironically, the coup that tried to save the USSR accelerated its dissolution, something that officially happened in December 1991 when Yeltsin, together with the leaders of Ukraine and Belarus, signed the Belavesha Accords. The Commonwealth of Independent States was then created to replace the USSR, whose flag stopped flying over the Kremlin on December 25. It turns out that Yeltsin had already been elected as president of Russia in the country's first free elections in history. In December of 1993, a new constitution was approved in a referendum, establishing a strong presidential system with separation of powers and civil rights. That same month, the country's first multi-party legislative elections were held after dissolving the parliament. In foreign policy, Yeltsin adopts the Atlantic Doctrine, seeking closer ties with the United States and Europe. The most cartoonish part of this, the iconic laughing fit with Bill Clinton. Russia sends troops to the UN peacekeeping force, and an agreement was signed in which both countries had to gradually reduce their nuclear arsenals. Everything looks very nice here, but everything looks very nice until we talk about the economy. In 1992, Deputy Prime Minister Yegor Gaidar implemented a wild liberalization of prices and massive privatizations. Beyond the hyper-inflation, which reached up to 2,500%, and the drop in GDP by 40%, the welfare state that existed in the USSR was destroyed, where people had universal guarantees of housing, employment, education, and healthcare. Not as efficient as in the West, but at least there was something. Although they were never rich, their most basic needs were covered. And now, not even that. Add to this the fact that an oligarchic elite emerged, which remains to this day. And Yeltsin had no better idea than to dissolve parliament, as already mentioned, which led to a constitutional crisis that left almost 150 dead in a bombing. The Russians really had reasons to be pissed off, didn't they? And the Chechens know it, so they declare their independence. Next big idea, launch a disastrous invasion in Chechnya in 1994 that left up to 100,000 dead, 80% of them civilians. This is followed by the financial crisis of 1998 due to the default on foreign debt and the collapse of the ruble. In the midst of such desperation, the figure of the Prime Minister rises. The famous Uncle Putin, his rise to stardom. He led the campaign of a second Chechen war in which he managed to reintegrate the region into the country, which earned him the victory in the 2000 presidential election by an absolute majority. The reason? Russia. Not only earning the reputation of a great military strategist, but Putin represented from the beginning the image of a strong leader who brought order to Russia. Did he become authoritarian along the way? Well, of course he did. This mattered to the Russians, but not more than the disaster left by Yeltsin's failed attempt at democracy. Especially because during his first years in office, Putin stabilized the economy, and the state regained its ability to act. At a high price, we can't deny it. So as you can see, it's likely that the brief democratic episode in Russia is nothing more than an anecdote for history, something we explain in more detail in this video. Is there truly an obsession with Russia undergoing a democratic transition?